Your team doesn't need another urgent priority. They need to know which priority is real. A complaint comes in. Another leader gets frustrated. Metrics don't look good. And all of a sudden, everything that they were working on yesterday changes. And then something happens the next day, and it all changes again. Over time, these changes keep happening, and people stop trusting priorities. They stop thinking that initiatives are real. And eventually, they just stop moving quickly because they start thinking that everything that's going to happen is just going to turn into another emotional reaction. This is how being reactionary ends up destroying a team. Not because people don't care, but because they don't know what direction is real. Most leaders don't think that they're actually creating instability because from their perspective, they're just fixing problems. They're doing their job. But from the team perspective, it creates instability. It creates unpredictability. So imagine this. One day, you're focused on accuracy. That is your gold standard. You must be accurate. But then the next day, accuracy slowed down speed. So now we're worried about speed. The next day, patient satisfaction, customer satisfaction. The next day, it's the budget. The team isn't failing because they can't execute. The team is failing because they're consistently recalibrating. This happens all the time in healthcare. We have a patient complaint that'll come in, and then immediately leadership is going to spring into action. No investigation, no pattern recognition, no discussion, just change. Then 2 weeks later, another complaint comes in, and then the cycle happens all over again. Eventually, your staff is going to become exhausted, not because of the work, but because everything changes all the time. And when the rules keep moving and when the rules keep changing, now you're going to have to worry about mistakes. Because the more time the people spend their energy on trying to understand the expectations, the performance itself is going to falter. This is when operations creates whiplash. If you've been following our leadership mistake series, you've probably noticed by now that leadership failures are not because of bad intentions. They start with predictable patterns that have unintended consequences. That's exactly why we've created our 10 leadership mistakes playbook. It's designed to help identify these patterns before it damages trust, communication, and execution. You can download it on the link below. So now let's get talking about how overreaction can damage your team. So let's talk about where the damage really occurs. So now you're starting to overreact. How is your team managing this? Well, when leaders become overreactive, now your team feels that they have to manage your emotions. Just think about that for a second. People will stop bringing problems forward. They'll stop sharing their concerns early. They'll avoid conflict for all that it's worth. They will keep everything hidden. They are going to make sure that any mistake that pops up, they're not going to say anything about it. It's not that they don't care. It's just because they want to avoid that reaction. You've probably seen this. Somebody brings something to a leader. That bad news arrives. But nobody wants to be that messenger. So issues, they get delayed. The risks, they get hidden. The problems, they begin to grow. And the leadership wonders why nobody spoke up, because everybody knew. The answer is simple. The team learned that the emotional reactions came with a bunch of consequences. So it was just easier to stay quiet. And so they adjusted their behavior. And in industries such as healthcare and aviations and first responders and other high-risk environments, when people get quiet, that can get very dangerous because these industries, they rely on information. They rely on transparency. They need people to bring concerns forward. And emotional overreactions, this kills communication. The leader, they think that they're driving accountability, but the team, they feel punishment. These are two very different things. So how do you fix it? How do you go from overreacting to being deliberate? Well, the first one, it's not going to surprise you, but you must pause. You must think to yourself, Am I responding to an event, or am I responding to a pattern? Because these are two totally separate things. An event, that is one point of data, but a pattern, that's intelligence. That is a lot of data that you can use in order to make an effective change. Step number 2, 3 questions, and it's going to dovetail back into number 1. But number 1, what actually happened? Do you have the facts? Do you have exactly what happened in that situation in order to be able to make an educated decision? Number 2, how often has it happened? Is this only a one-off, or has it happened consistently over a short period of time? And number 3, do you have the evidence to support what you need in order to be able to make that change? These are very important questions moving forward before you decide to react to anything. And number 3, make sure that you are calm before you have any type of communication. So what do I mean by that? If you're angry and you're behind your computer, write out the email, do not send it. Take a breath, step away, come back and read it. I promise you, you're gonna look at it through a different lens. That's number 1. Number 2, if you're communicating and you feel yourself get triggered, slow your breathing. And I'm not kidding, just slow your breathing, or even step away and take a minute. Because the reality of it is if you can remain calm, calm is just as contagious as anxiousness. And if you can keep yourself calm, you can actually control your entire team's tone. Because if you become frantic, they will get anxious. If you become scattered, they will become confused. So don't panic and choose carefully. So the best leaders, they don't move as fast as others. They will help everybody else determine what truly is important and what truly needs attention. They are experts at prioritization, and that isn't reacting, that's leadership. If you want to become a more deliberate leader, download our playbook. And if you're interested about practical leadership communication, operations, decision-making, and system development, follow our channel. Because here at BA Solutions, we're not about controlling people. We're about controlling the environment to let people be at their best. And that starts with learning when not to react.